Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to my channel. I am Thomasin, PA2066. Today is 14th of October 2022. You can see the background is my estateagentexam.com. I can change the background to another website that I run. Let me show you. Yes, this is a contract to you index for comparative index ranking of property. Another work that I am passionate about. Then I show you another website. Okay, yes, this is fineway.info. And lastly, the website My Real Property Online, which is a website that collects all my videos. So let me begin today's presentation. What are the recent programs run by the government for the property market. Of course, in particular, some of the program by the Perikatan National Government under the Prime Minister Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri So this is the i-Miliki as well as the i-Biaya. This type of name they have given to some of the incentive for the stamp duty exemption as well as the loan. Let me begin. All right, this is iBiaya, iMiliki, Hope and RTO program by the Perikatan National Government. Program that is for the housing industry for the housing market, where certain incentive for buying houses is given by the government. Okay, I am Thomasin, PA2066. Today is 14th of October 2022. This is close to 100 videos according to running number. This is 99. I have actually done 100 videos already. So let me just bring you for this topic, iBiaya, iMiliki, Hope and RTO. On the 14th of April, so iBiaya was launched, or 14th of April, it was launched for the purpose of financing the housing loan mortgage B40 and M40 group. Satu keluarga, satu rumah. So that was the slogan, the Perikatan National Government under our Prime Minister, Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob. So the main emphasis on these programs is actually for first-time home owner. So this actually program that has been many years run by the government under even the HOC home ownership campaign. It's only actually named as now here HOPE, HOPE HOPE. So it's actually for the first-time home buyers. Everybody supposed to have a roof over the head. So this is iBiaya. So we will go to the details later. So I'll just show you some of the pictures that is screenshot taken from the internet from the Housing Ministry. So the Kementerian Perumahan dan Kerajaan Tempatan KPKT website Jom Miliki. So that is the motto that they use, Jom Miliki, hashtag Jom Miliki. So this is three scheme. There are three schemes for obtaining the financial support under iBiaya. So SJKP, SRP and RTO, rent to own under PRIMA. So this one just a summary. I will go in later in detail. Similar on how to apply, ways to apply SJKP, how many banks, where to apply for SRP, what are the banks. We will see in the later slide. So SRP has got more banks behind it, and the way how to apply for the rent to own scheme by the PRIMA. PRIMA is the affordable housing scheme by the government. So later on we will see in more detail. These are all downloaded from the website by the KPKT. So extract from the NAPIC figures for the first half 2022. So it summarizes this way. I read through. Ministry of Housing and Local Government launched the Home Ownership Program, the HOPE, So in the earlier days under Perikatan, it inherited from the Harapan government, the home ownership campaign. So they now rename it as Hope HOPE, with primary focus on providing homes to those in the B40, below 40 and the middle 40 income groups. So last time was mainly on the B40 group. Now they extend to M40. The residential property financing initiative known as iBiaya. So iBiaya is more of a financing scheme, not about exemption of duty, stamp duty, or RPGT exemption or things like that, which is given in the budget. This one, iBiaya is more of a financing scheme, how to give loan to buy houses, which provide financing through the housing credit guarantee scheme. So the My First Home scheme and then the new rent to own RTO scheme for those who have difficulties obtaining housing loan. This includes B40. Some of them are not really on the salary scale. They are freelance workers. So if they are odd jobs or freelance workers, there are difficulties for them to submit for documentation to prove to the bank. So this scheme seems to work on this type of obstacle by giving special leeway on how to qualify for such a scheme. Besides, the government also introduced the Keluarga Malaysia Home Ownership Initiative, known as the i-Miliki, which provide the stamp duty, full stamp duty exemption on the instrument of transfer and the loan agreement for first-time home buyers of property price 500,000 and below, while another 50% exemption for home price above 500,000 to 1 million. So which is actually on top of what was offered before. First-time home buyer in the earlier financial budget 2021 actually gave to 2025. That means 5 years from 2021 to 2025. All your first home buyer below 500,000, there is already earlier gazetted PU, pemberitahu undangan by 2021 that exempts stamp duty payment on the memorandum of transfer for houses, residential houses by first ownership, first home ownership below 500,000. Now this one addition to the existing scheme, they give an extra of 50%, which is half, 50% of the next 500,000 to 1 million. So in order to allow those who are M40 middle income group who can afford to buy more expensive houses, but there has to be first time owner. So these are a bit new thing that is added to the existing exemption that is given for stamp duty on the house purchase. I always want to use the house purchase because this stamp duty is only exemption is only for residential use, not for commercial, agriculture or land. So this exemption, as I want to complete the whole paragraph, is for the sales and purchase completed from June 1st, 2022 until 31st of December 2023. So if you look at the existing stamp duty exemption, then for the existing, which is until 2025, it is for those property houses, residential houses below 500,000. So the special one that is currently given under iMiliki is an extra of 50% to the above 500,000 to 1 million. This is only until 2023 December. So 1.5 years in the total period. And just mention here, 2023 budget proposal, which has just gone by last Friday, in fact also added extra of 25%. So including that 50% to the 25 announced by the 2023 budget, then that means to pass the budget, let's say the new government passed the budget, existing 25% proposal and added to the 50% that is in i-Miliki, then it ends up with the 75% exemption for 500,000 to 1 million. So this one I will go in again later. So let us progress to the next slide. So iMiliki is in fact announced on the 16th or 15th of July 2022 by the Perikatan National Government. The name is Pemilikan Rumah Keluarga Malaysia lah. iMiliki, satu keluarga, satu rumah. So the announcement came on around July 16 in the newspaper, but then as of now writing and presenting this, I have not found any gazetted PU lah memberitahu undangan on this particular iMiliki. So likely similar to 2023 budget which would be to be read and second time and a third time passed in the parliament after the new government is elected. The next new government to be elected, then only then it is gazetted to be effective. So iMiliki until the moment now, as in today, 14th of October 2022, I have not seen any PU gazetted. So anyway, you can go to my earlier presentation on the stamp duty exemption under Fine Hui series to understand what I have just said, which is about 2021 to 2025 exemption on stamp duty for transfer of document transfer, MOT, and loan agreement for houses, the first home ownership below 500,000. You can go back to my presentation that is dated here 8th of September 2021. So that was last year. Anyway, you go to this presentation, you probably will find that the whole lot from beginning to 2018 end to 2019 and change of government to the PH government as well as to the PN government. So many exemption were given, and that got a lot of confusion also to sort it out in this particular video. Anyway, we refer to the PUA 53/2021. This is the one that actually highlighted pemberian harta kediaman berharga tidak melebihi 500,000 pada atau selepas 1 Januari 2021 tetapi tidak lewat daripada 31 Disember 2025. So this is the particular form that was issued by the Lembaga Hasil Dalam Negeri for those who wanted to ask about where is the proof to say there is a 5 years exemption. So this is the proof that I can provide here. A person who wants to enjoy this exemption need to fill in this form to declare they are buying it as a home use and they do not own any other property, and the particular residential use property has to be residential full, cannot be a Soho or a SOFO or small office, versatile office or a service apartment. So it has to be on residential land. This particular strata title or landed house need to be a residential house. So this is the proof. So anyway, we proceed. The first time home buyer declaration form. So anyway, we proceed on the date again. So we proceed to the next slide. So iMiliki and budget 2023, as I overall said just now, first time home buyer is both not been gazetted. Of course, the budget 2023 as of now, as we speak, is not even yet passed in the parliament. Parliament was dissolved, dibubarkan the moment that this is first read in the parliament. So second read and the third read belum done. So it is just proposal, and if it go through the government, the new government, then it will be gazetted for the time end of the year to be implemented next year. So stamp duty exemption for the first time home buyer on the memorandum of transfer as well as loan agreement, actually summarized here for residential home only, first-time home ownership, both developer as well as the secondary market. That means you buy a sub-sale house, as long as you yourself is first time owning a property, a residential use property. So that's just a summary. A lot of time confused because we are not sure whether it is also for the sub-sale market. So if you happen to see a house next door or your neighboring house on sale, and then you think you are buying it for first time, you want to stay very near to your parents, then if you are the first time owner, then this actually qualify for the home ownership campaign under iMiliki or the earlier budget announcement. So iMiliki July 2022 by stamp duty exemption for first-time homeowner. Again, extra home ownership campaign was extended to 2025, as I mentioned. iMiliki in particular is extra of 50% above the 500,000. Below the 500,000 is 100% exemption. So above 500,000 to 1 million is 50% exemption. And the timing here is given until 2023 end. And if it is a budget pass by the 2023 budget, it will be extended to 75%, addition of 25%. So the previous original HOC campaign was 2019 to 2021, and it was 100% exemption for below 500,000, but there was no stamp duty exemption above 500,000. So 2023 budget, which we were talking about just now, actually had a continuation of the HOC, the home ownership campaign, extra of 25%, 25% added to the 50% is 75%. So therefore this we just summarize here. So 75%, as I have written in red, proposed but not yet seen in Gazette. Now we move to the Hope campaign, Hope program by the Perikatan National Government. So this is a homepage of this Hope program by KPKT, Kementerian Perumahan and Kerajaan Tempatan. So you can go here and have a look at what are the programs that they are running. And you can also go through the YouTube. They have a good YouTube summary on what is iBiaya on the 14th of April 2022. So you can click on the link here in the slide and then go to the particular YouTube. So anyway, there are few components of the Hope. One is the housing, social housing scheme by the government. Then you have the promotional scheme by the Kementerian. Then you have the financing scheme, Initiative Pembiayaan Perumahan, the iBiaya, which is the financing scheme under SJKP, SRP, and also the rent-to-own PRIMA. Rent-to-own PRIMA is quite interesting. Later on we will see. And the part on the what are the policy by the Hope program. So we zoom into mainly the pembiayaan, the how to get the financing. So this actually has got three, as I just now I said already, SJKP, SRP, and rent-to-own. So scheme Jaminan Kredit Perumahan under the Syarikat Jaminan Kredit Perumahan, and then scheme Rumah Pertamaku for the Syarikat Ceramas Berhad, and then the scheme rent-to-own by the Perbadanan PRIMA Malaysia. So Perbadanan PRIMA Malaysia is actually set up by the PRIMA Act. So this is social housing by an individual act of parliament to build social houses for sale. Then the PRIMA houses, they have already carried out many phases, and some of these unsold units, they are now offering to this scheme as a rent-to-own. So the qualification or how do you qualify, it has to be a PRIMA qualifier. You have to first able to buy PRIMA under the Act to qualify for PRIMA. So anyway, the three basically is government allocating money to the individual program, and this go through the syarikat, government linked syarikat, and this syarikat will have the appointed banks as a retailer. So these appointed banks as retailer would offer the scheme to the buyer of the property. So Cagamas is also one of the government body which these funds I think is 20 billion funds go through to the individual vehicle This is considered vehicle of government how to disperse the fund but then the retailer would be the banks so the banks are appointed to be the person need to go through the bank would filter who are the qualifier and at the end this money being given to support the loan so that is the concept. So what are these two schemes so these two schemes in more detail there is a qualification I mean how to qualify mempunyai pendapat tetap. So this one for the SJKP is for more like small holder or people who do not have gaji pay slip so they difficulty for them to prove to gain loans so these are likely people on their own freelance job so this actually a group of people who very hard for them to get loan from the commercial merchant bank to get them for a mortgage so this scheme helps them. Scheme rumah pertamaku SRP also tanpa perlu membayar wang pendahuluan, no need to pay initial the deposits so usually when you buy house you need to come up with the down payment which is mostly a 90% loan plus a 10% down payment. So the 10% down payment is a burden for a lot of people to come out with cash to do this down payment and the SRP can even loan up to 110% of the property price. So that means there are even more given money given to add to the financing procedures and all this signing of agreement, all the fees that is to be paid for transaction. So we class this under transactional cost. So 100 to 110% given extra for this purpose. And the qualification, who are there to qualification? Of course, we are aware this is for first house ownership, first person, first time in a lifetime buying a property. So B40 and M40 group so there has to be, of course, qualification like more than 18 years old, first time buying the house, all the different qualifications like in the case of the SJKP is main part is the 18 years old, first time buying house, and then they can actually self-construct or use lelong house or auction houses. Need to have a household income of 1,000 and above. No bad record in the secrets. Of course, no bad record in the secrets. No other problem record in the last 2 years. So these are details that you go through to the retail banking, the appointed retail banking, and then they would help the applicant to filter. So we have the financial institution. Of course, you can see SJKP is a lesser bank, Bank Agro Bank, Bank Muamalat, Bank Rakyat, and BSN. These are more like development banks. The commercial banks is for the SRP. So a lot of commercial banks. So commercial banks for SRP one probably are more tagged to those who are of middle income group middle income with the salary slip, but without maybe without deposits. So they have to think of the way to get 100% or 110% loan. So these are ways to go through, the steps to go through, and you can see the agro banks, Bank Muamalat, Bank Rakyat, and BSN, which are the banks that are given the task for screening of this process. Similarly, for the SRP, the banks are the one that are given the task to do the filtering. So how about the rent to own PRIMA? Just now we were talking about the two financing scheme, but then what about these PRIMA houses? So these Prima houses go through Maybank, and in fact, the Maybank has a product called the House Key Home Ownership Plan. So this you can go to the website and see. And the part is that you go to the Prima Homes website, and you know that the requirement eligibility criteria is income of 2,500 to 15,000. So this can means a lot of high income people with the income of about even 8 to 10,000 per month. They can still go through this to buy Prima housing. Of course, the issue is whether you are buying first home or not. So this part for Prima housing is different because it is allowed to buy even the second house. So here it says that the scheme rent to own Prima is a scheme for renting and later on owning the Prima housing. So later we will see the calculation what are the advantages of renting and eventually owning the Prima home, and what are the benefits by the Maybank. And the part is so far this program is only by Maybank so there is a system. The system is pay for rental of the first 5 years, and then later on the 30 years you have to repay back in 30 years the amount that is supposed to be totally loaned to you, or until you are 70 years old. And this rent to own eventually is actually signed with the sales and purchase agreement, 100% the loan dispersed, and therefore you are only need to pay a rental of 3 months deposit. If you, let's say you are getting the scheme, then 3 months deposit of maybe 3,000, and then you start paying every month a certain amount for the subsequent number of years. Then by the end of the term, your payment fulfill all the outstanding loan, and eventually you actually own the Prima housing. So this rent to own system actually comes with the SPA being signed, meaning actually you commit to buy the property on the part that you buy the property, but in the initial stage you are only renting the property. So this is the process how to go with rent to own. Initially go to register. After that you choose your unit. After then you actually file in to ask for the process of a loan. So there later on there is a valuation and then the confirmation and giving you the approval. After that, then they sign the sales and purchase agreement, and after that take the key and then eventually start renting the house for 5 years. Then after that paying back all the remaining years of as like you are servicing your mortgage. So this is the summary of the comparison. So they say that okay, first column is about conventional buying. Second is the Maybank scheme, which is the scheme RTO. And then the third one is if you are conventionally actually renting a place. So if you say you conventionally renting a place, you pay 3,000 as a deposit every month, bayaran bulanan. So this is the monthly rental. This is the fees, the transaction fee. And then end up if you are paying for 5 years, you are paying for 63,248. You eventually still do not own the house, and you in the future, if you want to buy the house, it depends on the fluctuation of the house price. So conventional buying of a house is you have to come out with the 25,000, which is 10% as a down payment. Every month you still pay 996, which is the monthly repayment. There is a transactional cost here for the legal fee as well as duty, stamp duty So end up by 5 years you are paying 88,510 ringgit, and you own the house and you continue servicing the house. Whereas the rent to own scheme by the Prima program is in fact you only do a deposit of 1,500 ringgit, and the 3 months of the monthly payment, which is rental of 500 ringgit, and 500 ringgit rental, 3 months is 1,500 ringgit, and end up transaction fee is the same because you are signing the sales and purchase agreement similar to the total amount of 250,000. Then end up by 5 years, you service the house, because you are renting the house is 35,250. At the end, you are committed to buy the house and a subsequent 30 years of payment. And this subsequent 30 years of payment is the way that the bank takes back the money. Of course, the bank takes back the money with the interest, but at the end, you still own the house at 250,000 initial cost. So the house doesn't fluctuate. So this rent to own scheme has some advantages over renting. Of course, you are able to enjoy lower rental because here the bayaran bulanan, the monthly repayment is only 500 ringgit. But if you actually rent the house, probably the house will cost you 1,000 ringgit. And this is true because now the PRIMA housing, some of the rental which I heard is actually about 1,000 or 1,001. And this also is in the gray area whether the PRIMA housing can be rented as a commercial business. That is a lot of people who bought it and not staying in, but then they rent it out. So that PRIMA housing, this is a special scheme. Well, looks very attractive, but the 30 years repayment, that is the part that banks makes the money. So anyway, the conclusion for this afternoon presentation on the different programs by the housing and the local government is Hope. So i-Miliki stamp duty exemption on MOT and loan agreement beyond 500k, and the Hope program. And we talk about iBiaya, which includes the first two, which SJKP and SRP, given for those who are unable to come out with payslip, as well as those who are on freelance business, on their own business, as well as those middle income who can afford higher bracket of houses. Then for those who are M40, who are able to buy a bigger house, probably the husband bought the first house, then the wife buying the second house. But for the wife to buy the second house, for the family, the wife actually own it as the first house. So when the wife own it as the first house, still the wife enjoys this program, so can get a higher loan because the gaji is bigger, so can get a higher loan to own a bigger house. So this also is government's initiative to promote housing industry. Then the third one, which is rent to own, is the PRIMA special program for first or the second house. So PRIMA allows the first and the second. So 2023 budget, we have not seen it yet approved by the parliament, not passed by the parliament because on election now, 75% stamp duty exemption for 500,000 to 1 million. So these are the summaries we can quickly go through. Thank you very much. I am Thomasin, PA2066. This is my mobile number on display. I have a few websites. My Real Property Online is a collection of my videos and some of them write-ups on real estate news. Estateagentexam.com is an online self-study of the Diploma in Estate Agency examination by the Board of Valuer Appraisals, Estate Agents and Property Managers. Contract to You is my website for the IPI ranking, Inter-Property Index ranking, comparing properties. Findway.info, a website that is for the community of agents, geo-linking businesses. The Baker's Real Estate.fund is a simple to start real estate website. Thank you very much. See you again in other two video that I am recording later. The topics are on the NAPIC first half 2022, as well as another topic on what is actually overhang. See you there.